TitleMatchNetwork.com.
Memories of young Sting. What was it like to work with Sting?
I never cared for Sting. I thought he was a selfish, egotistical bastard.
Why is that?
Because he thought he was more important than anyone else. He thought that wrestling owed him something. He had no respect for it. He had no respect for the tradition of wrestling. He had no respect for the struggle that other guys had to go through to get where they were at when it was given to him by Dusty Rhodes. And if it hadn't been for guys like Ric Flair, Al Perez, and the great Muta, I don't think he would have ever had any success at all. Because he would, if you watch one of Sting matches, you see him on. I'm going to give you a little example. Here's a guy that had one of the greatest personas ever developed in wrestling. He was a super duper hero that children of all ages loved. Women loved him. And what did he do? He dyed his hair black, painted his face white, and came from the ceiling. Is that a smart guy?
No, you're exactly right.
Is that a guy that knows what's going on? Is that a guy that really cares about the fans and what he developed? That would be like me growing my hair out and turn it red and dress like Jim Cornette.
Right.
I mean, it would be ridiculous. So, no, I never had any time for Sting. I really didn't.
What about Lex?
Lex, probably I had a little more time for Lex than I did this Sting. I don't think Lex liked being a wrestler. I don't think he appreciated wrestling. But Lex was a loner. He wasn't a guy that, he wasn't out and about like Sting. I just never had any time for Sting.
When you first got in there, you managed Al Perez. What are your memories of managing Al?
Al Perez was probably the greatest athlete and the best legitimate wrestler that I ever managed. And a great guy. Had nothing but good times with Al.
We did a shoot with him years back. What, in your opinion, what happened with him, and why do you think he disappeared one day?
Well, I'll tell you exact story what happened to him. I went to the office and I lobbied for him to work with Ricky Flair.
Right.
And the first night he was supposed to wrestle Flair was in the Bayfront in Florida. And Kevin Sullivan came to me a few days before and said, Gary, Al Perez said he's going to shoot on Ricky Flair at the Bayfront. And I said, please, that's ridiculous. So he said, well, you better check. So I went to Al and I said, Al, did you tell someone that you were going to shoot on Ricky and take the belt from him? And he said, yes. I said, you got to be ribbing. He said, no, I can beat him. I'm a better wrestler than him. So I'll beat him, and then they'll have to give me a big contract to drop the belt back. I said, Al, you can't do that.
Right.
I went to the office representing you to get you this opportunity. Now you're going to tell me that you're going to shoot on Ricky and take the title? You think Ricky's just going to lay down and let this happen?
Right.
He's not going to do that. And Al said, well, I don't care. I can do it, and I'm going to do it in my hometown. And I said, you're going to do it without me?
Right.
I can't do this. I mean, I've worked for the Crockett's off and on for 20 years. You know, I can't do this. So he says, well, I'm going to do it. So I went to Kevin and I said, Kevin, it's the truth. He told me it was the truth. So they figured out the idea that Gary didn't show up. So the match couldn't take place. They said in a contract that Gary Hart's not in the corner. The match is not validated and you can't have the match. So that's when Al and I separated.
Wow. Did any of the boys go up to him and, say, what are you thinking? Was that...
No, I don't think so. Only I did. I said
he was pretty much done with the territory right after that, right?
Yeah. That was it.
That was it.
Wow. Yeah. And I hated to see that, but I could not allow that.
Right.
I had to, even though I represented him and I liked him, I had a responsibility to the office and to the promotion. I was the one that went and asked, please give Al an opportunity to go around with Ricky.
Right. And
make big money. And then he wanted to
he wanted a contract.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
You pretty much disappeared for a little period of time. What did you do around this time period?
Nothing.
Just relaxed?
I just, I had been in wrestling for 35 years in 95 when I decided enough is enough, So I just more or less hung out with my children and, raised them and enjoyed my life and had a good time. When I quit or retired, however you want to put it, I had a full cup. I'd had a great career. I traveled all over the world. I had no more mountains to climb. And to be honest with you, I hated the time in the dressing room. I hated airports. I hated getting in the car. I mean, I didn't hate wrestling. I loved that small little portion of time that we would go to the ring and we would have the match.
Right.
But all the things you had to do to get to do that, it wasn't worthwhile to me anymore. I mean, I got to the point where dressing rooms were like jail, airports were aggravating, driving 200-300 miles in a car. I just didn't want to do it. I would be driving at night and you'd drive down the highway and you'd see lights on all the houses and you'd say to yourself, why am I home with my family? So just one day I just said, this is it. I'm through. I'm finished. I'm gone. I'm not going to do it anymore. Not that I was unhappy. I wasn't bitter. I was just through. I just
Burned out in a way.
Probably burned out is probably the best way. Not, like I say, not the portion of time that the actual performance took place.
Right.
I loved that.
You hate the schedule and travel.
I couldn't deal with that anymore. I didn't want that. If it would have been a secret way that I could have showed up 5 minutes before the match,
Right.
went to the ring and had the match, I would have had no problem. But all the things you have to do. See, people, they only see that little small glimpse of you on TV. They don't understand or realize what entails to get to that moment, I mean, when I would be on 30, 35-day tours, and sometime twice on Saturday and twice on Sunday. Imagine. I remember I left Daytona Beach, Christmas. I took my boys to the barbershop, and they both got burr haircuts because they were getting into body surfing or boogie board surfing.
Right.
When I came back, their hair had grown out.
Wow.
I said, my God, what am I doing? I'm missing my children's childhood, and I had children late in life. I had my first child at 36, my second child at 38. And here I am at 48, and my little boys are growing up and daddy's on the road. And I just didn't want that. I wanted to be with them. I didn't want to be in a hotel and call home and, hey, Daddy, when you're coming home? I didn't want that. I wanted to be with them. So it wasn't really hard for me to make that decision. I mean, it was very easy for me to say enough is enough.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.